She was going to do a set last week, but decided that she was quite happy to be bounced on to this week, and it's the lovely MEG PHILP.
It's Christmas, and I'm going to sing an English song to stretch myself a wee bit. It was sung by the Watersons, and it's a wassailing song. Wassail comes from Anglo-Saxon, and it means be of good health. So when they raise their glasses and go wassail, they're telling you, good on you, have a good year, be healthy. And it has a chorus, and the reason I want to sing this song is so that I can hear you harmonise with the chorus. I love this song. The Watersons sing it, and you can find it on YouTube, and they do a great job. I'll do my best. The chorus goes something like this. Whither wassail, wassail, and joy come to our jolly wassail. So there's lots of room to play around, alright? And I've got to act on command for this one. Now the harvest being over and Christmas drawing in, please open the door and let us come in with our wassail, wassail, and joy come to our jolly wassail. Here's the master and the mistress sitting down by the fire, while we poor wassail boys do trudge through the mire with our wassail, wassail, and joy come to our jolly wassail. Here's the master and the mistress sitting down at their ease. Put your hands in your pockets and give what you please with a wassail, wassail, and joy come to our jolly wassail. This ancient old house we will kindly salute. It is your custom, you need not dispute with our wassail, wassail, and joy come to our jolly wassail. Here's the saddle and the bridle, they're hung upon the shelf. If you want any more, you can sing it yourself with a wassail, wassail, and joy come to our jolly wassail. Here's a health to the master and a long time to live, since you've been so kind and so willing to give with a wassail, wassail, and joy come to our jolly wassail. is a custom from the West Country of England. Not mine, but unusually my surname is found in Fife, where I was born, and in Cornwall. So I have a kind of connection with Cornwall. So that song was collected in Cornwall in 1952, with somebody passing through, and adapted and sung by the Protestants. I want to tell you a story though that comes from Somerset that has similar customs of wassailing, and it goes something like this. There once was an old farmer and he died, and his property went according to custom to his youngest son, because you see, in that part of the country at that time, it was expected that the eldest boy would have made his way in the world. And so he was left nothing, and everything went to the youngest son. So, well, the youngest, he treated all the other brothers and sisters, didn't he? But the eldest son, didn't give him nothing. He lent him an orchard, and he said he could have grandfather's cottage down the end of Water Lane, and the old dunk and the old ox there, and a bit of grain. But, you know, not much of a gift, brotherly love. Because the cottage, well, the roof had flown years before. The ox was all skin, the dunk was all bone, and the grain, well, it was mouldy. But what could the eldest do? He looked it over and thought of his grandfather. And he looked at the animals. And he said too, he rummaged around the long grass around the old cottage, and he found the slates that had fallen off the roof and blown hither and thither. Took him a while, but he nailed each dang one of them back up on the roof. And he cut all that long grass that was all around the cottage and down the side of the lane, and he fed it to that poor old ox and that skinny donkey. And you know, they picked up this good food and this attention, and he talked to them. And they do say, you know, Grandpa had a bit of a way with words too, a bit of a healer. And maybe he taught this to the eldest, for the eldest sent soft words to those beasts. And soon they'd swelled up. You couldn't see the ribs. And they were perky like. And when he showed them the orchard where he'd mown, they got in there. And those old trees in the orchard that were all hanging like this and hadn't borne fruit since Kingdom Come, well, it seemed they perked up too, thanks to the animals and what they left behind. Well, you do know that the youngest, of course, was charging rent. He would have it on the quarter, bang in the palm of his hand. And as he came one day to collect, he looked around and he saw this brother of his was doing well, things was tidy. Oh, well, there was a field under wheat, just a short field, mind. And these animals seemed to be going in there. There were apples on the trees. He didn't remember ever seeing apples on the trees before in the orchard. He seemed to be doing too well. And when he spoke to him, how was he getting by? He said, oh, work from morning to night, help out with other farms. He said, I'm going to be helping with the apple pressing later, I need cider. Well, he said, you know, once the harvest is over, Christmas, you know, they do say, Grandfather said there was treasure buried on this land somewhere. And you and I know the old customs. They do say that on Christmas, when it strikes 12, all the animals of the farm are able to talk. And you can ask them questions, and I have decided I'm going to ask them where the treasure is hid. They can't lie. They can only tell the truth at that time. Well, the eldest said nothing. All right. Yeah. And he didn't forget that. The youngest came back 2 days before Christmas and said, mind you come and wake me up between the early hours, the late hours I should say, before Christmas and the last chiming of the church bell. And I will come and speak to your animals. The eldest said, oh yes, he would. Well, the youngest said, I'll make it worth your while. I'll take 6pence off the rent this morning. All right, said the eldest. He'd hardly a penny to bless himself with. And he went out to the orchard as the sun went down. It was a cold night. The stars were all out. It was clear. It was a bit of a moon. And he remembered her grandfather used to treat the animals special on Christmas Eve. So he got some of the holly he gathered in the lane from the copse down the road, and he decorated the old shippen, the stable where the 2 animals were tethered. He had some holly around the house and the door, and he got him this tankard, his jug of cider, and he went out into the orchard. And he, after he'd spoken to the animals, made sure they had sweet grass and good hay and a bit of grain. He went out to the trees and he spoke to them and said, I wish you wassail, a Merry Christmas. And here's a drink to you. And he went around, as they do in that part of the country still, sometimes, if they're superstitious like me. And he poured some cider on each of the ancient apple trees. And the oldest one, the one that his grandfather had called the apple tree man, creaked and spoke. Bide quiet and dig below my roots, said the tree. The young man dropped his tankard and stood back and looked. And he looked at the roots. There was a rotten one down there. And he got down on his knees and he dug. I don't know, it was like magic. The earth and the stone were soft as sand, and as he dug, he covered over the surface of a hard, a box. He dug it out, a box. He opened it, and there, gold glinted in the moonlight. He looked at the tree, and the old tree said, "Bide quiet and hide it." Well, he didn't need to tell him. He shut the lid and he ran back into the cottage, and I won't tell you where he hid it because it's a secret. And then he went and got his brother, for it was Christmas Eve. And he called up to him from outside his house, and the young fella comes running out the door, getting his coat on, running down the lane towards Grandpa's cottage. He caught up with him. And sure enough, he went straight to the stable there where the 2 animals were chewing the cud, talking. And the young man said, "Dear ox and dear donkey, I want to know where the treasure is hid on my land." Hear that? Says the donkey. He wants to know where the treasure is hid. Said the ox. Won't do him any good, said the donkey, will it? Said the ox. It's already been took and is hid safe and sound. He'll never get it now. And that was how the eldest son lived long and well in the old cottage on Water Lane.